Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you a great office lesson.
That's right. But actually, I hope this situation never happens to any of our listeners.
Exactly. Today we are firing somebody. So
Yikes.
it is a little bit complicated, but maybe you're an HR manager, maybe you are a supervisor, and you'll have to do this one day. So gotta learn how, right?
Exactly. All right. Well, why don't we get started then as we listen to Isabel and Anthony.
Hi, Isabel. You wanted to see me?
Yes, Anthony. Come on in and have a seat.
Is everything okay? You seem a bit preoccupied.
Well, Anthony, this is not going to be an easy conversation. The company has made some decisions which will have a direct impact on your employment.
Okay.
I don't want to beat around the bush, so I'm just going to come out with it. We're going to have to let you go.
What? Why? I mean, just like that, I'm fired?
I'm sorry, but to be honest, you're a terrible employee.
What? I resent that.
Anthony, you were caught making international calls from the office phone. You called in sick 8 times this month. And you smell like alcohol.
He did sound a little bit like he had too much to drink, huh?
I know. He had that kind of
Slur.
that slow way of talking that made him seem a little bit drunk.
Well, that's definitely something you don't want to do, is show up to work with alcohol in your breath.
Exactly. But you know what? There's a lot of great language in this dialogue. So why don't we take a look at it now in Language Takeaway?
Language takeaway.
All right, well, I want to look at 3 words here. Now, the first one, Anthony said that Isabel was preoccupied.
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 Okay, so if somebody is preoccupied,
They're not focused.
maybe they're a little bit worried.
Yeah, they're thinking of something else.
Okay.
Why don't we take a listen to a few examples of how this word is used?
Example 1.
James is really preoccupied. I think he's having some family problems.
Example 2.
Oh, were you talking to me, honey? I'm sorry. I'm just really preoccupied with work.
All right, so very clear now, preoccupied. Let's move on to our next word, direct impact.
Direct impact.
A direct impact.
All right, so again, Isabel told Anthony that the decision will have a direct impact on his career. Mm-hmm. It will have a noticeable or impact or effect on his career.
Okay, so a direct impact. And what about our last word?
Well, Anthony said, I resent that.
Resent.
Resent.
Okay, now this is spelled exactly like resent, like with an S, right?
That's right. R-E-S-E-N-T.
But you pronounce it like a Z.
Mm-hmm. Resent.
Resent that. So what does it mean if you say, I resent that?
It means I find that insulting.
I find that to be not true.
Yes.
Okay, I resent.
All right, Marco, well, how do you use this word?
Well, if somebody tells you you're lazy,
Okay,
right?
then you might say, hey, I resent that.
Right. I do a lot of work. I'm not
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah, so it's always something that you use after someone insults you.
Right. Or says something that you find to be not true. Mm-hmm. Okay. Resent that. And I guess with this, it's time for us to listen to this dialogue again, and then we'll come back and look at some great phrases.
Hi, Isabel. You wanted to see me?
Yes, Anthony. Come on in and have a seat.
Is everything okay? You seem a bit preoccupied.
Well, Anthony, This is not going to be an easy conversation. The company has made some decisions which will have a direct impact on your employment.
Okay.
I don't want to beat around the bush, so I'm just going to come out with it. We're going to have to let you go.
What? Why? I mean, just like that, I'm fired?
I'm sorry, but to be honest, you're a terrible employee.
What? I resent that.
Anthony, you were caught making international calls from the office phone. You called in sick 8 times this month. And you smell like alcohol.
Yeah, well, there's some wonderful language in here that you can use when you have to have a difficult conversation with somebody.
Right, so let's take a look at these phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
We have 3 phrases here, and the first one is to beat around the bush.
Okay, beat around the bush.
Beat around the bush.
Okay, so this is an idiomatic phrase. So before we explain it, let's listen to somebody beating around the bush.
Okay, the one thing that I want to tell you, it's so important that I don't like, sometimes when, all right, here's the deal. This is it. Specifically, it's not this, it's not that, it's not you, it's not me. It's everyone. It's everything. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So as you can tell, the person has something to say, but
They're taking a long time to say it.
right, you're kind of looking for the right or maybe more polite words to say something.
Exactly.
So that is to beat around the bush.
Now, the opposite of to beat around the bush is to come out with it.
Okay, come out with it.
Come out with it.
So maybe you're talking to your friend and he's beating around the bush, so you can just say, hey, come out with it.
Tell me.
Tell me, just
Yep.
what is it,
Exactly.
right? Come out with it. Be direct.
When Isabel finally came out with it, she told Anthony that we're going to have to let you go.
Let you go.
Let you go.
So this is actually a nicer way of saying you're fired,
Yeah, it's a little bit more polite, isn't it?
right? We're going to have to let you go, or,
Oh, I was let go from my company.
right. So a synonym for to be fired.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's listen to Anthony getting fired one more time, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this difficult situation.
Hi, Isabel. You wanted to see me?
Yes, Anthony. Come on in and have a seat.
Is everything okay? You seem a bit preoccupied.
Well, Anthony, this is not going to be an easy conversation. The company has made some decisions which will have a direct impact on your employment.
Okay.
I don't want to beat around the bush, so I'm just going to come out with it. We're going to have to let you go.
What? Why? I mean, just like that, I'm fired?
I'm sorry, but to be honest, you're a terrible employee.
What? I resent that.
Anthony, you were caught making international calls from the office phone. You called in sick 8 times this month. And you smell like alcohol.
So Erica, have you ever fired anyone?
I have fired a lot of people.
Oh, wow. You are a mean person.
Oh, yeah. Well, there are some people who really do silly things like come to work drunk. And if you do that,
You're obviously going to get fired.
yeah.
But in the United States, actually, there is an interesting way of firing people. They get a pink slip.
Oh, yeah. But I guess this is just a little bit different than getting fired. You get a pink slip when you get laid off.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, if you come to work drunk, you get fired immediately, right?
Yes.
But when you get a pink slip, so it's basically a little pink paper that tells you that you have been laid off.
Yep. And so when you hear somebody say, we sent out, so when you hear somebody talk about pink slips, like our company sent out 500 pink slips, that means that 500 people got laid off.
Or I got a pink slip today.
That means you got laid off.
Right.
Yep.
That's actually interesting because I don't know any other country that actually has this
A special color.
special color for firing people.
Yeah. How about in your country? Is there a special color for pink slips?
In many workplaces around the world, difficult conversations are sometimes a part of professional life. One of the most uncomfortable and emotional situations is when a manager has to fire an employee. This topic might seem unpleasant, but it's important for English learners to understand the right words and expressions used in these moments, especially if they work in international offices or plan to manage teams. In this episode, we're going to explore how to talk about job termination using clear, polite, and professional language. Imagine this. You're a team leader or supervisor, and you've been told that one of your team members is no longer meeting expectations. The company has made a decision, and now it's your responsibility to deliver the message. You can't avoid it. So how do you begin? First, many professionals feel nervous or stressed before these meetings. That's when we say someone is preoccupied. They might seem distracted or deep in thought because they're thinking about the upcoming talk. A common sentence would be, "You look preoccupied. Is everything okay?" It shows concern, but also recognizes that the person isn't fully present. Now let's say the meeting begins. Instead of going straight to the point, some people talk around the topic. This is called beating around the bush. It means avoiding the real issue by saying unnecessary things. In business, especially when time is important, it's better to be direct. A polite way to do this is to say, "I don't want to beat around the bush, so I'll come out with it." This phrase helps you transition into difficult news with honesty and clarity. And then comes the big moment, the announcement that the employee will be leaving the company. In professional English, people often avoid saying you're fired because it sounds too harsh. Instead, we say we have to let you go. This sounds softer, but it means the same thing. For example, "I'm sorry, but we have to let you go due to company decisions." This sounds respectful, even though the message is serious. It's also helpful to understand the word resent. When someone feels insulted or disagrees strongly with what you said, they might reply, "I resent that." This means they feel the comment was unfair or untrue. For instance, if you said someone was not performing well, they might respond, "I resent that. I've worked very hard." This type of response often happens when emotions are involved, so you need to stay calm and respectful. All of these expressions, preoccupied, beat around the bush, come out with it, let someone go, resent, are common in workplace communication and are especially useful in sensitive situations. Learning how to use them properly will help you become more confident in both professional English and emotional intelligence. When someone is told that they're being let go from a job, it can feel shocking, confusing, or even unfair. That's why it's important to use the right tone and language when you deliver the message. The person receiving the news may react strongly, and your job as a professional is to handle it with calmness and clarity. In this kind of conversation, honesty matters, but so does kindness. A useful phrase that people often use when sharing difficult news is to be honest. This shows that you're being sincere, even if what you're about to say isn't easy to hear. For example, to be honest, we've had some concerns about your recent performance. Saying this gives your sentence a gentle but truthful beginning. After that, you may need to explain the reasons. Maybe the person has been absent too often, or perhaps their behavior at work has been unprofessional. In English, we call it calling in sick when someone contacts the office to say they can't come to work because of illness. But if it happens too frequently, it may cause problems. A sentence you might use is, You've called in sick 8 times this month, which is much higher than normal. This shows concern without being aggressive. Sometimes, employers also notice signs of inappropriate behavior. For example, if someone comes to work smelling like alcohol, it's a serious issue. A professional way to talk about this is, there have been reports of alcohol on your breath during working hours. This kind of sentence is clear and factual. In situations like this, it's also important to prepare documentation. Employers often keep records of employee behavior, warnings, and reports. These documents support your decision and make the conversation more official. This shows the person that the company didn't make the decision lightly. Another helpful term is severance package. When someone is let go, companies sometimes offer money or benefits to support them while they search for a new job. You can explain it by saying, "We are offering you a severance package to help during your transition." This makes the message less harsh and shows support. And if the reason for job termination is not performance, but business-related, such as financial issues or company restructuring, then the employee is not fired, but laid off. This term is more neutral. For example, due to recent changes in the company, we are laying off several employees. This helps the person understand that the situation is not entirely about them. These conversations are never easy, but by using calm, respectful, and professional English, you can make the process less painful and more understandable. These expressions and strategies don't only help in difficult talks. They also help build trust and protect your reputation as a thoughtful communicator. Even though firing someone is difficult, being professional and respectful can make a big difference in how the message is received. That's why it's important to prepare the language you will use. One useful phrase in business English is, "This decision will have a direct impact on your employment." It sounds formal, but it's a gentle way to begin explaining that the person's job is ending. It helps set the tone without sounding too aggressive. For example, after several meetings with the management team, we've made a decision that will have a direct impact on your employment. This kind of sentence gives the listener time to understand what's coming. Once you begin the conversation, it's important to stay calm, even if the person gets emotional. Some people may react with anger or sadness. Others might stay silent, shocked by the news. That's why clear and polite language is essential. Instead of saying, "You're being fired," you can say, "Unfortunately, we've decided to terminate your position." The word terminate sounds more formal and is often used in legal or professional environments. Here's another helpful expression. "We've noticed a pattern of behavior that doesn't meet company expectations." This is a tactful way to explain problems without sounding personal or rude. It also gives the person a chance to reflect without feeling attacked. When speaking to the employee, you might also need to mention policies they've broken. For example, using company phones for personal international calls is against our policy. This explains the rule clearly without adding emotion. In some cases, companies will provide a dismissal letter. This is an official document that summarizes the reason for termination. You can say, "You'll receive a dismissal letter that includes the details of today's conversation." This helps make the situation more organized and transparent. Some employees may ask questions or argue with your reasons. This is normal. The best way to respond is by staying respectful and firm. You can say, "I understand this is upsetting, but the decision is final." If the employee says something like, "This isn't fair," or "I worked so hard for this company," you can respond with calm empathy. "We appreciate the work you've done, but the recent issues have made it difficult to continue your employment." Remember, your goal is not to win an argument. It's to deliver the message clearly and respectfully. It's also helpful to use neutral phrases like based on recent observations or after a thorough review. These show that the decision was not rushed or emotional, but made with care and professionalism. By learning how to use these expressions, you'll be better prepared for situations that require maturity and sensitivity. Whether you're a manager or just want to improve your business English, mastering this language will help you communicate difficult messages with clarity and compassion. Understanding the emotional side of job termination is just as important as using the right words. When someone hears they're being let go, they may experience feelings of shock, sadness, anger, or embarrassment. This emotional reaction is normal, and that's why using calm, clear, and polite English is so important. One way to keep the conversation respectful is to use phrases that show empathy. For example, you might say, "I understand this is difficult to hear," or "I know this news may be upsetting." These kinds of sentences show that you are aware of the other person's feelings, and it helps make the conversation less cold or robotic. After the initial announcement, it's helpful to provide specific reasons, but do it in a way that doesn't sound like a personal attack. You could say, "We've received feedback about repeated policy violations," or "There have been ongoing concerns regarding attendance and performance." These statements are factual and professional. They avoid blame and focus on the behavior, not the person. If the employee becomes defensive and says something like, "That's not true," you can respond by saying, "These are issues that have been observed and documented over time." This keeps the conversation calm and grounded in facts. If the person still argues, it's best not to debate. Instead, keep your tone steady and say, "The decision has already been made, and it is final." This reminds both you and the employee that the conversation has a clear purpose. Now, in many companies, employees who are terminated are given some form of support, such as career counseling or a severance package. A helpful way to introduce this is, "We want to support you during this transition period." This can make the situation feel less hopeless. You might continue by saying, "You'll be given information about your final paycheck and use vacation time and any benefits you may still receive." This helps the person shift from shock to planning their next steps. Another useful phrase is, "We encourage you to reach out if you have any questions after today's meeting." This tells the employee that they still have a line of communication open, which can ease their anxiety. During these conversations, your body language also matters. Keep eye contact, avoid crossing your arms, and sit in a calm posture. These nonverbal signals show that you are open, honest, and respectful. For English learners, practicing this kind of professional language builds both vocabulary and confidence. It also prepares you to speak with kindness and strength, even in uncomfortable situations. The goal is not just to deliver bad news, but to do it in a way that respects the dignity of the other person. That is what makes a strong and trusted communicator. Letting someone go is not only about delivering bad news, it's also about how you manage the conversation afterward. After sharing the decision, it's important to explain what happens next in a way that is structured and reassuring. One of the first things you should do is describe the timeline. You can say, "Today will be your final working day, but you'll receive payment for the rest of the month." Or if the person has a notice period, you might explain, "You will continue to work until the end of the month, and we expect a smooth transition of your responsibilities." These phrases help the employee understand what's expected and what they can prepare for. If they need to return company property, such as a laptop or access card, be clear and polite. You can say, "Please return all company equipment by the end of the day," or "Our IT team will help you log out of your account securely." This keeps the process professional and reduces confusion. It's also important to talk about the employee's rights. In many companies, employees are allowed to ask for a reference letter, even if they've been terminated. If that's an option, you can say, "We're willing to provide a neutral reference confirming your position and time of employment." The word neutral means the letter will not include negative comments, just the basic facts. Sometimes, the employee may want to say goodbye to coworkers. If appropriate, you can say, "If you'd like to say goodbye to the team, you may take a few minutes before you leave." This allows the person to end things with dignity, especially if they had good relationships at work. Now, when talking about benefits or documents, use clear and organized language. For example, you'll receive a package with all necessary documents, including your final paycheck and information about health insurance options. Or, human resources will contact you this week to explain the next steps. These sentences are helpful and calming. Many employees may also ask why they were chosen or if others are being let go too. In those cases, you can reply with a prepared sentence like, "Due to business restructuring, this decision was made based on a combination of factors." Keep your answer professional and avoid sharing private information about other employees. The goal is to remain respectful and protect everyone's privacy. Ending a job is often emotional, but when you use clear and respectful English, the conversation becomes easier to manage. For English learners, these phrases are valuable not just in firing situations, but in many formal conversations where empathy and clarity are important. Practicing this kind of language prepares you for real-world situations where tone, structure, and word choice all matter deeply. Some job terminations are caused by performance problems, but others happen for business reasons. When a company is facing financial difficulties or needs to reorganize, it may have to reduce its staff. In this case, the employee is not fired because of poor behavior. They are laid off. This is an important difference in business English. Being laid off means the employee didn't do anything wrong, but the company can no longer keep them. A clear way to say this is, due to recent changes in our business strategy, we're reducing staff and your position is being eliminated. This kind of sentence explains the reason without blaming the person. Another helpful phrase is, "This is part of a larger company-wide layoff." This helps the employee understand that the decision is not personal. In the United States, companies sometimes give a document called a pink slip. It's a paper that officially tells the employee they've been laid off. You might say, "You will receive a formal notification, often referred to as a pink slip, to confirm this decision." While this term is common in American English, not all countries use it. So be sure to adjust the vocabulary to your audience. In many layoff situations, companies offer a severance package. This package may include several weeks or months of pay, continued health benefits, or support in finding a new job. You can explain it by saying, "We're providing a severance package that includes 2 months of salary and assistance with your job search." This softens the blow and shows that the company still values the employee. Employees who are laid off may feel confused or hurt, even if they understand the reason. It's helpful to use phrases that recognize their contribution, such as, "Your work has been appreciated, and we're thankful for your time with us." This sentence keeps the tone respectful and shows gratitude. Even when letting people go for business reasons, there are legal and ethical responsibilities. For example, you can't lay off someone for personal reasons and then pretend it's business related. That's why honesty, fairness, and clear communication are so important. During these conversations, always avoid blaming language. Instead of saying, "We can't afford to keep you," say, "The company is going through financial adjustments that affect several roles." This keeps the message focused on the situation, not the individual. And finally, some employees may ask, is there a chance I can return in the future? A careful response could be, if circumstances change, we will keep your information on file and consider you for future opportunities. This gives hope without making a promise. These conversations are never easy, but with the right vocabulary and a caring attitude, you can turn a difficult moment into one of dignity and understanding. For English learners, mastering this language not only improves fluency, but also prepares you for professional moments where emotions and words must be handled with skill. After a job termination, whether it's a firing or a layoff, what happens next can deeply affect how the employee moves forward. That's why the way you end the conversation is just as important as how you begin it. Ending on a respectful and supportive note helps maintain trust and reduces stress. One of the best things you can do is offer resources. For example, you might say, we've partnered with a career services agency to support you in your job search. This shows that the company is not just saying goodbye, but is also helping the person take their next steps. Even if such services are not available, providing guidance is still valuable. You could say, there are several job platforms and career centers you might find useful, and we're happy to give you a list. This simple gesture can make the employee feel cared for. In some companies, employees who are let go are offered a chance to share feedback about their experience. If that's the case, you might say, if you'd like to complete an exit interview, our HR team will schedule a time. This gives the employee a chance to speak, and it also helps the company improve. Now, it's also important to address final details clearly. You might say, you'll receive an email with all documents and payment details within 24 hours. Or, please check with HR if you have questions about your benefits, taxes, or references. This makes sure nothing is left uncertain. Some employees may want reassurance that they're leaving on good terms. If that's appropriate, you can say, we're parting ways professionally, and we wish you success in your future career. This leaves a positive impression, even in a difficult moment. In cases where emotions are running high, staying calm and steady is essential. Avoid saying too much or making promises you can't keep. Use phrases like, this conversation was difficult for both of us, or I appreciate you taking the time to listen today. These show maturity and professionalism. For English learners, this kind of language is powerful. It's about more than vocabulary. It's about developing a voice that is thoughtful, respectful, and strong. These skills are useful not just in termination meetings, but in any situation that requires careful and effective communication. Practicing this kind of speech helps you grow as a communicator, a colleague, and a leader. Every workplace will have its challenges, but with the right language, you can handle even the most difficult moments with dignity and confidence.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Worried, thinking about something else.
Preoccupied.
Connected to, related to.
Direct.
Strong influence or effect.
Impact.
Avoid saying something by talking about other things.
Beat around the bush.
Say something directly.
Come out with it.
Have someone fired or dismissed.
Let someone go.
Used to say something directly.
To be honest.
Find something very insulting.
Resent.
Call the office to say that you can't come to work because you're sick.
Call in sick.
Money or benefits you give someone when they are fired.
Severance package.
End in employment because of business reasons, not performance.
Lay off.
The action of ending employment because of business reasons.
Layoffs.
A letter written to tell an employee he is fired.
Dismissal letter.
End the employment of a person. Fire.
Terminate.
Let's try that faster. Strong influence or effect.
Impact.
End the employment of a person. Fire.
Terminate.
Have someone fired or dismissed.
Let someone go.
End in employment because of business reasons, not performance.
Lay off.
The action of ending employment because of business reasons.
Layoffs.
Avoid saying something by talking about other things.
Beat around the bush.
Use to say something directly.
To be honest.
Call the office to say that you can't come to work because you're sick.
Call in sick.
Find something very insulting.
Resent.
Say something directly.
Come out with it.
Worried, thinking about something else.
Preoccupied.
A letter written to tell an employee he is fired.
Dismissal letter.
Money or benefits you give someone when they are fired.
Severance package.
Connected to, related to.
Direct.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Preoccupied. James is really preoccupied. I think he's having some family problems. Preoccupied. Oh, were you talking to me, honey? I'm sorry. I'm just really preoccupied with work. Preoccupied. John was so preoccupied with his deadline that he forgot to attend his cousin's wedding ceremony. Impact. Our overtime costs are having a direct impact on our profits. Impact. The news scandal is having a direct impact on the president's approval ratings. Impact. This decision is going to have a direct impact on our success. Beat around the bush. You really shouldn't have chosen John as your debate contest partner. You know, he's always beating around the bush. Beat around the bush. Please don't beat around the bush. If you want to break up, just say so. Beat around the bush. Stop beating around the bush and tell me what you have to say. Come out with it. What are you trying to say? Just come out with it. Come out with it. When will they come out with it? We know they're boyfriend and girlfriend. Come out with it. Don't keep secrets from me. Just come out with it. Let someone go. Due to the economic crisis, we will be letting some employees go. Let someone go. I can't believe it. After 12 years of working here, they let me go. Let someone go. If you continue to make this mistake, we're going to have to let you go.
In any workplace, things don't always go smoothly. Sometimes there are serious conversations that no one wants to have, but they are necessary. One of the most difficult and uncomfortable moments in a professional environment is when someone gets fired. Losing a job can be shocking and emotional, but it's also a situation filled with real-life language that English learners can benefit from. In this episode, let's explore this tough topic, being fired from a job, and use it as a powerful opportunity to build our vocabulary, learn natural expressions, and understand how people really speak in these moments. Imagine you walk into your manager's office. The air feels heavy. Your boss looks serious, even a bit nervous. Something doesn't feel right. Then they say it, "We're going to have to let you go." That phrase might sound softer than "you're fired," but the meaning is the same. You're losing your job. Phrases like "let someone go" or "terminate employment" are often used in business settings to make difficult news sound a little more polite. It's common for managers to avoid being too harsh, especially when the news is already painful. But as an employee, hearing those words can be shocking. It's natural to respond with confusion or disbelief. What? Just like that? I'm fired. One reason a company might fire someone is poor performance. That means the employee isn't doing their job well. Maybe they're always late, don't finish their work, or make too many mistakes. In other cases, behavior problems are the issue. Things like making personal calls from the office phone, showing up to work smelling like alcohol, or taking too many sick days. If you hear that someone called in sick 8 times this month, that's a clear signal something might be wrong. When these problems happen again and again, a company might feel like they have no other choice. And in a serious conversation like this, there's no room for confusion. That's why someone might say, "I don't want to beat around the bush." This phrase means, I don't want to avoid the topic. I want to say it directly. It's often used before sharing difficult news. On the other side, the person getting fired might feel angry or insulted. A very useful word to show that feeling is resent. If someone tells you you're a bad employee and you strongly disagree, you might say, "I resent that." It means you feel hurt or offended by what was said. Let's take a moment to reflect on some of these important expressions. Let someone go, a polite way to say fire someone. Beat around the bush, avoid saying something directly. Come out with it, say something directly. Call in sick. Tell your boss you can't come to work because you are ill. Resent. Feel insulted or hurt by something someone says. These phrases are not only useful in job-related conversations, they're part of everyday English. Whether you're talking about work, relationships, or daily life, knowing how to express things clearly, honestly, and respectfully can help you communicate more effectively. And remember, difficult conversations often teach us the most, not just about language, but about how people deal with real challenges.
In the workplace, communication is everything. And when the topic is as serious as job termination, the words people choose matter even more. Managers don't just say you're fired anymore. In fact, most of them try to soften the message. That's where phrases like, "This is not going to be an easy conversation," or "the company has made some decisions" come in. These are signals, polite ways to prepare someone for bad news. One powerful phrase used in this situation is direct impact. When a company decision has a direct impact on your employment, it means your job is going to change or end right away. This phrase can be used in many contexts. For example, "This new law will have a direct impact on small businesses," or "Her attitude had a direct impact on the team's performance." It means the effect is strong and immediate. Let's break down how a manager might speak in a professional and respectful way when firing someone. They might say something like, "Anthony, the company has made some decisions, and unfortunately, these decisions will have a direct impact on your position." Instead of saying something aggressive, they use clear but careful language. But not every boss is calm or polite. Some might say things like, "To be honest, you're a terrible employee." That kind of sentence can be painful to hear, and it often leads to strong emotions. If someone feels insulted, they might reply with, "I resent that." This is a strong but still polite way to say, "I don't agree, and I find that statement offensive." The word resent is especially useful in situations where you need to express your feelings in a formal or respectful way. For example, if someone says you're lazy and you believe it's not true, you can say, "I resent that." Or if a coworker blames you for a mistake you didn't make, you might respond, "I resent the accusation." Let's look at a few more helpful expressions that show how people talk about job problems or difficult situations at work. Preoccupied. This word means your mind is busy with other thoughts. If someone seems distracted or not focused, you can say they look preoccupied. For instance, she was so preoccupied with her personal problems that she forgot the meeting. To be honest, this phrase is used before saying something that might be uncomfortable or direct. It makes your message sound more sincere. Example, "To be honest, I think this project needs more work." Let you go, a gentle way to say someone is fired, often used in business language. "We've decided to let you go." It's important to recognize the tone and style of professional conversations. In English, people often choose their words carefully in sensitive situations. This helps maintain respect, even when the news is difficult. In daily life, you'll hear many of these phrases used in other situations, not just at work. For example, someone might say they are preoccupied with a family issue, or they might begin a serious conversation with "to be honest." These are natural, fluent ways to speak that help you sound more confident and clear. So next time you hear someone say, "I don't want to beat around the bush," or "This decision will have a direct impact," you'll understand not just the words, but the feeling behind them. And you'll be ready to use them yourself whenever you need to face something difficult with calm and clarity. When someone loses their job, the emotions can be intense: shock, sadness, anger, confusion. And in those moments, the language people use often reflects how they're feeling. That's why learning the vocabulary and expressions used during job loss is not just about understanding words. It's about understanding people. Let's focus now on a few key expressions that are often used during tough conversations. One very useful idiom is "beat around the bush." Imagine someone is trying to say something important but keeps avoiding the main point. They talk in circles, hesitate, and use vague language. That's called beating around the bush. For example, "Instead of telling me the truth, he kept beating around the bush." In contrast, when someone wants to be direct, they might say, just come out with it. This means, say it directly, don't hide it. Another important phrase we often hear in workplace conversations is, let someone go. While this may sound gentle, it means the person is being fired. It's a softer way to deliver bad news. You might hear, they let me go after the project ended, or the company had to let several employees go due to budget cuts. Now, in some situations, employees are not fired because they did something wrong. Instead, they lose their job because of company changes. Maybe the company is downsizing or losing money. In these cases, the phrase laid off is used. Being laid off means the employee didn't make a mistake. It's a business decision. And when people are laid off, they might receive a severance package, which is money or benefits given to help them after losing their job. Another term you might hear is pink slip. This is a common phrase in the U.S. that refers to the piece of paper that officially tells you that you've been laid off. For example, someone might say, I got a pink slip today. It's a short and informal way of saying they were let go. Let's take a moment to highlight and review some helpful words and phrases. Beat around the bush. Avoid saying something directly. Come out with it. Say something clearly and directly. Let someone go. A polite way to say someone is fired. Laid off. Lose a job because of business reasons, not personal mistakes. Severance package. Money or benefits given when an employee is laid off. Pink slip. A document that tells someone they've been laid off. These expressions are incredibly useful, not just in the workplace, but in any setting where serious conversations take place. They allow people to communicate clearly while still being polite and professional. When facing job loss, many people also feel a strong need to defend themselves. They may explain their side of the story, or they may say things like, I wasn't given a fair chance, or I've worked here for years and this is how it ends. These sentences show real emotion and can be part of the conversation after someone is told they're being let go. If you ever need to talk about a job ending, whether it's your own or someone else's, it's important to use clear, respectful, and accurate language. These expressions help you talk about difficult experiences in a calm, mature way. Understanding this kind of language gives you more than just vocabulary. It gives you the confidence to handle professional situations with strength and clarity, even the tough ones. Losing a job can be one of the most stressful events in a person's life. But sometimes it's not just about the job ending. It's about how it ends, how the message is delivered, how people react, and how the situation is handled all play a major role. And the language used during those moments tells us a lot about workplace culture and communication. Let's talk about tone. In English, people often use softening language when dealing with sensitive topics. Instead of saying something harsh like, you're always late and irresponsible, a manager might say, we've noticed some ongoing issues with punctuality and work performance. This style of speaking helps avoid conflict and keeps the conversation professional. It's a skill that English learners can find very useful, not just in the office, but in everyday life. Another phrase you might hear during a difficult meeting is, this is not going to be easy. It prepares the listener for uncomfortable news. It shows empathy, and it's a signal that the speaker is aware of the emotional weight of the moment. Then comes the main message, something like, unfortunately, we've decided to end your employment. This is a very formal, respectful way to say someone is being fired. In this kind of situation, it's also common to hear the phrase, I don't want to beat around the bush. This means, I don't want to avoid the topic. I'll be direct. It often comes right before someone says something serious. For example, a manager might say, I don't want to beat around the bush, so I'll be honest, we're going to have to let you go. Now, let's look at how people respond to being fired. Some might accept it quietly. Others might get angry or defensive. A common phrase someone might use when they feel insulted is, I resent that. For example, if their manager says they've been unprofessional, they might reply, I resent that. I've worked hard every day. In some cases, people might ask questions like, why now? Or, is there anything I can do? These are normal reactions, and they often lead to discussions about severance packages, references, or job support. Sometimes, an employer might offer help with finding a new job or writing a recommendation letter. Let's explore a few more useful phrases that appear in these kinds of conversations. To be honest, use before saying something serious or direct. Punctuality, the habit of being on time. Performance issues, problems with how someone does their job. Terminate employment, a formal way to say someone is fired. References, positive comments from past employers that help you get a new job. Understanding this vocabulary helps you prepare for more than just interviews. It prepares you to deal with real-life situations, whether you're hiring someone being hired or facing unexpected job changes. It also helps you understand others more deeply. When someone says, I got a pink slip, or I was let go, you'll know exactly what they mean. You'll hear the emotion behind the words and be able to respond in a way that's kind, professional, and supportive. Learning English isn't just about grammar or pronunciation. It's about understanding people, their feelings, their choices, and the way they communicate during life's big moments. And job loss, as difficult as it is one of those moments that teaches us a lot about language, emotion, and human connection. When someone is fired or laid off, it often feels like the end of something, but it can also be the beginning of something new, a fresh start, a second chance, or an opportunity to grow. That's why it's so important to know how to talk about job loss in a way that's calm, confident, and professional. The right words can make a difficult experience feel more manageable, both for the person losing the job and for people around them. One important term to understand in professional English is severance package. This refers to the money or benefits a company gives to someone after they are laid off. It might include a few weeks or months of pay, help finding a new job, or health insurance. Not every company offers this, but when they do, it's a way of showing respect and support during a hard transition. Another useful phrase is dismissal letter. This is the official document that confirms the end of someone's employment. It usually includes a reason for the termination, the date it becomes effective, and any final instructions. Receiving a dismissal letter might feel formal or cold, but it's a normal part of workplace procedures. For English learners, it's also helpful to know how people talk about losing their job after it happens. Instead of saying, I was fired, some people choose softer language like, I was let go, or my position was eliminated. These phrases sound more neutral and professional, especially during job interviews or networking conversations. Let's review some final expressions that are useful when discussing job changes. Dismissal letter, the formal letter that ends someone's job. Severance package, extra money or benefits after losing a job. Eliminated position, when a job is removed from the company's structure. Reorganization, when a company changes its structure, often leading to layoffs. Job transition, the period of moving from one job to another. Even in everyday life, these words come up more often than you might think. For example, someone might say, after the reorganization, 3 departments were shut down, or he's going through a job transition right now. And finally, after being fired or laid off, what's next? Many people take time to reflect, update their resume, and prepare for new opportunities. They might say things like, I'm exploring new options, or I'm open to a fresh challenge. These are positive ways to talk about the future, even after a difficult ending. The most important lesson here is that words can shape how we feel and how others feel during emotional moments. Learning the right vocabulary helps you stay strong, speak clearly, and move forward with confidence.